Right before the show started, though, today, and that'll do it. No more realignment talk until actual news breaks. If something like a private equity firm does something official, we will do a slight mention on it. We will not spend time in it. I kind of feel as if that is the Snaps magnum opus to realignment. I hope you're happy, Aaron. I know you have been clapping and cheering louder than most, yelling in the streets for the blood of the Pac-12, and it appears you've finally gotten what you've wanted.
Yep, I appreciate it. I'm excited. Death to the Pac-12. College football is a better day.
Wow, unbelievable. So right before the show, though, a new poll dropped. That's right. Who doesn't love poll talk when it comes to college football, especially preseason poll talk, the most ridiculous of all poll talk, as Brett McMurphy drops, or not Brett McMurphy, that's where I saw it first. But the coaches preseason poll has officially dropped. We'll use our guy McMurphy because he's the best. But number one, your UJ Bulldogs, no surprise there. Number two, Michigan. Okay, Wolverines getting the respect they deserve. Number three, Alabama. Number four, Ohio State. I kind of feel like that top four is a grouping unto itself, right? Those are all the regular customers. I would put Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State in the benefit of the doubt club, which is where I don't give a fuck who you lost, what coaches you lost, what players you lost. We're putting you in the top four. Michigan has bullied their way, or I don't know if they bullied their way in the benefit of the doubt club, but they've definitely bullied their way with all their returning production and how good they were the last couple of years into being like, yes, they too should be in that top tier. So I kind of have that as tier one in my mind. And then the tiers and the teams behind them form up like a tier two.
You know how I feel about Alabama. I don't think Alabama is a top team. I think LSU is the better team heading into the season. So, I mean, if I was doing my poll today, I would have LSU ahead of Alabama. I would still have Georgia, Michigan 1, 2. I love those two. I do think they're the best two teams in the country heading into the season. I'd probably put Ohio State at 3. I'd put LSU at 3, Ohio State at 4.
You would just flip LSU. You would just flip LSU and Alabama.
I would flip
right
LSU
at 5.
I would flip LSU and Alabama right now. Yes.
So you got LSU 5, USC 6, Penn State 7, Clemson 9. What's interesting to me about those teams, Aaron, is they all feel like teams that are trying to break in, right? They're trying to break into that top tier. LSU under Brian Kelly feels like maybe here in year number 2, they could really prove, look, year 1 was solid, but LSU's ready to be championship relevant every single season. Same thing with Lincoln Riley and USC. Same thing with Penn State. In the Big Ten, only losing to Michigan and Ohio State. Well, now they got their quarterback. They got Drew Lock. Will they break through? Again, same thing with Florida State. After starting the year 3-3, they end on an absolute tear. They win 10 games. Jordan Travis looks great. They're recruiting their ass off. Mike Norvell looks like he has that team on the edge of being championship relevant. And then Clemson obviously has been there and is trying to get back there. So I got the top 4 as my tier 1, and then I cut off my tier 2 at Clemson right before number 10, Tennessee.
Yeah. I love Florida State ahead of Clemson. I think Florida State wins the ACC. I think Clemson's going to be a team that will be outside the top 10 when it's all said and done. I do like your tiers here, but I think Washington is a top 10 team. I don't know if you feel the same way. I like Washington a little bit ahead of where they are right now. I think there's 2 teams in there that are in their positions because of the brand, and that's Alabama and that's Clemson.
So you don't think Alabama should be in the top 10?
No. I'm just saying in their positions inside the top 10. Once again,
so
I think
you would flip Clemson and Washington.
I'd flip Clemson, Washington.
Washington's at 11 for those listening at home.
I would get Clemson outside of the top 10. Flip them with Washington, and I do like Washington ahead of Tennessee too.
So after Clemson, you kind of get into
yeah.
Well, I was going to say after Clemson, you kind of get into the prove it tier, right?
Yeah.
And granted, Florida State could probably exist in either one, but Tennessee prove that last year was not an anomaly, that Josh Heupel can do this, spanning multiple quarterbacks, spanning multiple years. Washington, same thing. Was last year just kind of catching lightning in a bottle to go 11-2 and put up all the crazy numbers you did? Did you just play bad pass defenses like some will tell you? Or under Kalen DeBoer, are you going to be that legitimate threat. Texas, prove anything. Texas, prove one fucking thing. Texas coming in at 12. I love that they're not in the top 10. Just prove one thing. Prove that you can go 10-3. Okay, just prove that Steve Sarkisian can win double-digit games, and then we'll give you a pass. Notre Dame at 13. They're looking to prove themselves under Marcus Freeman, post Brian Kelly, where, look, if you look at the last few coaches before Brian Kelly, they were awful. So there's a lot of pressure on Freeman to prove that he can keep this train running. And it's probably not fair to Utah to be put in the prove it tier, but here they are. I mean, I would keep this. You got Utah 14, Oregon 15, TCU 16, Kansas State 17, Oregon State 18. Yeah, I would go all the way down here to Oklahoma at 19 for the prove it tier, because even Kansas State and TCU, despite being really good, continue to not get a lot of national belief.
Yeah. One team at the bottom of the list I do like. I feel like I just love teams in Texas, I guess. I like A&M at 25. I think A&M is going to catapult themselves inside the top 15 at some point this season. From everything that I'm hearing is Petrino will be calling plays this season, and you just look at what they bring back from last year on the defense, then the quarterback and the receivers and all the skill on that football team right now. It's like, man, if they can get the offense figured out, which it seems like they're going to give him an opportunity to get an offense figured out and evolve and play with some more tempo and mix things up and the shifts and the motions just evolve as an offense, you have the players to do it. Once again, you beat Alabama 2 years ago. You had the opportunity to beat Alabama last year. You beat the snot out of LSU. So you've shown to the country that you can beat the best of the best. Two teams ranked inside the top 5, 6. You've taken care of the past 2 years. A&M is a sneaky team at 25 that I think is going to have a pretty damn good year.
Are you so would that be your biggest mover, like out of teams that you feel like are the most low ranked? I think climb the most.
I think A&M is my biggest mover this season from where they are today in this poll to where they end up at the end of the season. I think A&M's a team easily can jump up 10 spots.
Oregon at 15's a little interesting, not getting nearly the respect that that Washington is, like kind of the coaches, or I guess Utah probably arguably deemed disrespected more than both. If I had to pick a team that I think could move up the most here, I can maybe go right in front of you. I think Texas Tech. I think Joey McGuire has done a hell of a job with the Red Raiders. They had their best season, I think, in like a decade last year. We've talked about the NIL buy-in they have, where if you sign with Texas Tech, you get $25K just off the jump. They do a great job of recruiting in state at Texas. They're tough. Maybe the Big 12 is a little too crowded. Okay, so if we're playing this game, like just trying to math it out, because I didn't think about this before the show, I guess North Carolina could be a team to watch as well because of a relatively weak ACC. Now, that's not to say that I'm a UNC believer, that they'll be consistent up, but they come in ranked 20. And so to move up by definition, you need to be ranked low, right? And it's not that crazy to think that they could catch a Clemson on the wrong day and beat them or catch a Florida State on the wrong day. So North Carolina would probably be one to watch. Oh, and then Oklahoma at 19. Oklahoma should be better than 19. Like, that's on Brent Venables. Brent Venables needs to prove that Oklahoma will be better than 19. They have way too much talent to be ranked around the teams. Like, go look at their blue chip ratio compared to Kansas State and Oregon State, who are right ahead of them, and North Carolina and Wisconsin, who are behind them, and it's not close. So that could be one as well. Do you have a most overrated on this list, Aaron, before we go?
Most overrated on the list. I still think Clemson. I know I said I flip them with Washington, but I think you're going to see a Clemson team that ends up somewhere closer to 15 when it's all said and done, which isn't, I guess, a massive drop. But when it comes to Clemson football and where they've been over the past decade, kind of losing control of the ACC, Florida State on the rise, and we'll obviously see what Miami does this year as well. To me, we've talked about Dabo a little bit, maybe not being in touch with this new college football. I think if Florida State continues to do what they're doing on the recruiting trail, you see they're dominating. If they do win the ACC, say North Carolina and Miami also have good years, and Clemson's just good, not great, like a 9-3 team, I think that's a massive blow to that brand.